When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 200. I am so excited for today's episode. Of course, I am your host, Colleen Biggs. I have been talking about episode 200 now for several weeks, and I am so over the moon excited to have a new friend, Joel Zeff, back from episode 198. And I'm also excited to have Julie Jones here. Many of you know she's been in my life for many, many years. She's a great friend of mine. We've done so much together and have been through so much together that I can't wait to introduce you to both of these individuals and all of the fun that we're going to have today. But before I do that, because today is going to be all about celebration and celebrating. And no, Joel, I'm not going to play your trigger song because I'll get shut down on a copyright. So we're not going to play it, but I might sing it. We'll just see what happens.
It's a good idea.
But before we get started, I want to thank the 200th episode sponsor of today's show, Beyond Basil Mobile Pizzeria. We are passionate about bringing the authentic flavors of Italy right to your event. And our mobile pizzeria is a culinary adventure on wheels where we craft artisanal pizzas using the finest ingredients and traditional Neapolitan techniques. Whether you're craving a classic margarita or looking to explore one of our unique flavor combinations, our skilled pizziolas are here to create mouthwatering pizza that will tantalize your taste buds. With our commitment to quality and exceptional service, we aim to provide an unforgettable dining experience for every one of your guests at your wedding or private event. So explore our menu, book us for your next event, and follow us on Instagram at Beyond Basil Pizza. Get ready to embark on a pizza journey like no other with Beyond Basil Mobile Pizzeria. You can find us online and contact us at beyondbasilmobilepizzeria.com. And we will also be at the bridal show in Phoenix, Arizona, January 10th and 11th. So we hope you will come by and see our cute little trailer. All right. Are y'all ready to get this party started?
I want some of the pizza. Like, where's my pizza?
It is not a party without the pizza. I'm just saying.
I strangely have a craving for pizza right now.
See, you should.
I was wondering
like,
where I could get.
Joel, like, she could have shipped you one. She could have shipped me one. What's going on here?
I understand there's a mobile option where pizza just comes to you.
Not really. No, the trailer brings you the oven that cooks the pizza. But you're right. We could have had pizza. We could have ice cream. We could have had all that. But I don't think we need all the fluff. I think us as a group are going to be fantastic. So I just want to remind all of our listeners very quickly who Joel Zeff is. He creates energy. Mr. Joel Zeff does. He creates energy from stage. He's not only a dynamic speaker, an improvisational humorist, he's also an author. His interactive performances invite members of the audience to participate in hilarious improvisational exercises that illustrate Joel's central message. Let me mix that in a sandwich with our other guest, Julie Jones, who's a former police officer and SWAT member who empowers individuals to conquer fears, embrace authenticity, and seize each moment. As an award-winning speaker, international best-selling author, and breakthrough coach, she hosts the TV show Stop Waiting, Start Living, and the Get Shit Done podcast. She's certified in NLP for mental and emotional releases and hypnosis. Watch it, Joel. She knows hypnosis, and she's on it today. So we have these two dynamic, amazing speakers that are here with us today to help me celebrate 200 episodes of Take the Leap. I mean, come on, Joel.
Congratulations.
Bring us something. I want to hear a little bit about the harmonica. Look at this. Here she's got the chicken hat.
I didn't bring a hat. I didn't know we were bringing hats.
Well, this is what I'm going to signify for the celebration of 200. So 200 episodes of Take the Leap has not only provided our listeners. You going to go grab something?
Yes,
you
guys take over. I'll be right back.
Do it.
Well, let's see. Here's the thing. Like, to get to 200 episodes, you can't be chicken, right?
No.
Like, you gotta. There is there's always a point to all my stuff. I can make a point to anything, right? But I just think that the chicken hat is really flipping cool because he's wearing suspenders.
You can't beat. Oh, yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a disco, right?
Yeah,
we're in a disco now.
Oh, my collar's all messed up. I wasn't ready for the 200 episode. Now I'm ready.
Now
I'm ready. This is the official 200 episode.
Now we're bringing it. For those of you that are listening to this episode on the podcast, I want you to head on over to our YouTube channel, which is in the link below. You've got to watch episode 200 on video because Joel himself has the brightest, you can see it from outer space, gold, sparkly jacket. Julie's wearing a chicken on her head, and I have on glasses with $2 that are gold. And why do I have this on? Because you can't get to 200 episodes without having faith and belief in taking the leap in everything in your life every day and taking the investment that it needs to get to 200 episodes. And during that journey, the amount of the wisdom and knowledge and resources that have been poured into our listeners has helped them build their net worth. And that I am truly, truly proud of.
Well, it's an accomplishment. 200 episodes. I mean, most podcasts, I think there's what's the research? Most end after like 12 or 20, something like that. There's a number.
Is it really?
Yeah, most end after there's an actual number. We can look it up. If only there was a way where we could look something up, like if we need information.
I mean, maybe I think someone should create a platform out there.
Yeah, someday.
You just get on a podcast and you listen and you'll get the information that you need.
I think it's 12 or 24, let's say a year. So whatever. And so, but 200 episodes, that means all the work and effort and commitment and dedication, because I'm sure there's times where you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do the podcast this week. I got this to do, and it's just another thing on my list. But, it's a dedication, it's a commitment, it's a passion. So that's a huge deal, 200 episodes. And this, I mean, right now, right here, this part, if there's like a Smithsonian for podcasts, I mean, there's a chicken hat. I'm wearing a gold jacket. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't put a clip of this into that. And then there's more sunglasses. I can't wait to see what the third choice was.
You are my sunshine, my
only sunshine. Trust me, Joel, this isn't the only
happy when life is
skies are great. This isn't the only apparatus that I have. So I hope you have some other you have some other props, Joel. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You might have to turn your jacket on inside out. So
let's start with something, Joel, because I want to turn the times that were the worst in our lives, we're going to talk about that, into the moments that we're all at today in our lives, because I have come from early childhood sexual abuse through adult physical abuse to being thrown away, set aside by my family over and over again, to who I am today, who serves and empowers others to be the best version of themselves that they can be, through bringing them knowledge, through experts that I've had on Take the Leap, through building conferences where women can connect with other women and shine on stages. Every platform I've ever created has been for people to not be afraid, to get out there, to be themselves, and to shine. And I'm super proud of that. And I could have taken the road that created a victim mentality, and I could have just stayed there. But then what would that have done for all of the people through this ripple effect that you, Joel, that you, Julie, that so many others have impacted millions of people, especially from stages and all of the platforms through your TV show, Julie, Joel, through the thousands and thousands of stages you've been on. It's an honor to be in the room with two powerhouses, for sure.
Wow, that's quite an
Wow.
introduction. Julie,
And
you
mic
might,
and mic drop.
yeah, that's a good close for the podcast.
No, this is the opener.
Oh, this is the
It's
beginning.
only,
The
oh yeah,
opener.
my
This is
friend.
the beginning. Well, I love the whole leap story. And Julie, you might want to. I mean, I've been talking. Why don't we, Julie? I'll give you the floor, and I think Colleen wants our stories, and so I'll let you go first because I want to hear. I like to hear people's stories, and anything that starts with SWAT, I'm in. I want to hear that story, and then I'll do the magic harmonica story. How about that?
Oh, I like that. I like it. Well, thanks, Joel. And I think that Colleen's, onto something when, she talks about, because every single person has a story, and every single person, I believe, has the right to a platform for that story. Hence one of the reasons I've done my television show. And, going back to the idea of being a police officer and a SWAT member is really my initial introductions into my platform, which is Stop Waiting, Start Living. And the reason for that is that because the hardest thing I ever had to do as a police officer was deliver death notifications. Here today, gone tomorrow. Nobody promises you anything. And we're not going to get down and out on this podcast because we are celebrating. But see, I think it's important to remember, what are you celebrating? See, every day that you are alive and you wake up 6 feet above ground versus 6 feet below ground is reason to celebrate. It really, truly is. Because then in my own personal life, 20 years ago, at the young age of 59, I lost my mom to early onset Alzheimer's. Again, sends me into the spiral of somebody that was such a role model for me is suddenly gone. A month later, my grandmother passes. 5 years ago, my father passes, from undiagnosed pancreatic cancer. He was gone within 17 hours of being diagnosed. Okay. And then just recently, on November 9th, of last year, my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 metastasized cancer. And I lost him April 29th of this year. And that was not a journey that any of us, I think, who are listening in would ever anticipate was going to happen. See, everybody plans their future and has their whole life ahead of us. And so that's what brings me here today, is a reminder to people that yes, life is not sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns all the time. It's worth living, and life is going to throw things at us. And it's our decision to decide how we're going to respond. Every single day since he's passed, almost every single day I cry. But yet at the same time, I remind myself that I am still alive and I am still living. And so I'm out there as much as possible, living my life, doing what we had planned to do. So every time I do something, and I hold him so deeply in my heart that I'm like, okay, you're coming along with me, because it's not about the things that we accumulate in life. It's really, truly about the memories and experiences that we share with each other. Because I'm going to wrap it up with this, is that there is one thing that I know to be certain in life, and that when we are on our deathbed, it is that we were loved and that we loved. And that's all that really matters at the end, is that we are loved and we loved. And that is it. So there you have it, Joel. Me in a nutshell. And there's a lot more to me, but that, if you want to talk about, things that can, set you back, because I could be in the corner of this call crying, curled up in a ball and said, no, Colleen, I'm not going to be here today. And yet I chose to be here.
Because you have the philosophy and you've taught others this philosophy. You've written a book about this. You've created a TV show about this. Your entire platform is about stop waiting, start living. We as individuals, and that this is where Joel comes in as well. You've just got to stop holding back. You've got to get out there and just let it all go and be the best version of yourself you can be. And along the way, we're going to get smacked by a 2x4 is what I like to say. Things in our lives are going to change abruptly. And when that adversity happens, that's when we need to decide, how are we going to rise? Where are we going to go next? And how do we come out of what we would see as a bad situation, a sad situation, a situation that, as I talked about and as Julie talked about, could throw you right into a victim mentality to where we allow that to cripple us for the rest of our lives, but we didn't. And we're still here today. And Joel, you did the same thing with the harmonica. I mean, please, you've been teasing this story to my listeners for weeks now. They're like, get that damn harmonica out. Tell us what's the harmonica?
All the way back to all the way back to episode 198.
Could have crippled you. Could have crippled you, my friend.
All the way to 198. All the way back. Remember 198? That was a good time. Those are good times back then. Things were simpler. Things were simpler back then. You know, it was just a different atmosphere, just a different mood, just a simpler way of life. It was
remember the
music
telephone,
was different.
the
music was different. Yeah. All those TV shows. Remember from episode 1, remember all the TV shows and the movies that were happening back then? Oh man, those were good times. Those are good times. Yeah. And so man, Julie just kind of opens up with about all this loss, and so it's a little emotional, and then I'm just telling a story about an idiot losing his job. It's like we're here, and then we're like, well, hey Joel, tell us your idiot story. Oh, let me tell it, and you can compare and contrast. So yeah, it's a different loss. It's a loss of your job, which a lot of people will experience. I think anybody, if you have a certain amount of career, you're going to lose your job at one time or another. And I was a newspaper reporter covering police crime. I was drawn to those stories. They wouldn't let me do sports when I was in college, and so I was drawn to more action. It's different kind of action, but
I don't see the resemblance, Clark Kent. Not much.
No, watch now.
Oh,
yeah.
What? You take off your glasses. It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah. So I was, I know. I know. So I was a newspaper reporter, and I was working in Dallas. And so I got hired 6 months prior to this story. So I'm brand new. I have a 1-bedroom apartment. I got a couch and a bed. That's all the furniture I have. I just moved to Dallas. 6 months later, they call me up on a Sunday and say, the paper is closing tomorrow. Come clean out your desk. You've lost your job. So remember, I just moved here, 6 months. I'm on a 1-bedroom apartment. I had a good job in Michigan. I wrapped it all up, moved down to Dallas, and 6 months later, boom, come clean out your desk. And so I hung up the phone, and now you think, you lose your job, you're going to be angry, confused, sad, disappointed. For me, it was like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. I always say this is one of the best days of my life, and it was because it's my choice. I'm contractually obligated to say other great days of my life are marrying my wife and the birth of my 2 children. I'm not saying I'm not going to rank them. I'm not going to rank these days. But if we could also put in the 3 Super Bowls for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're up there too. I'm not saying what's number 1. Okay. I'm not saying these are all in the rankings. If you feel also the 2022 Kansas Jayhawks winning the basketball championship, that is in the rankings as well. That was a great day. 2015 when the Royals won the World Series. So there's a lot of great days. I'm not saying what is number 1. Okay. I'm not going to say what's number 1, but contractually I have to say my wedding was one of those days. I was paying a lot of money. We got food, but sure. It was a great day. Okay.
Did you have pizza? Did you have a pizza? Did you have the mobile?
We did not. We did not have pizza.
So sad.
Strangely, pizza. There was not an option for a pizza van.
It's kind of you got married in the simpler days, Joel. Back then things were different.
There were no pizza vans.
Today, Pizza trailers are very popular at weddings.
Yeah.
You've got bruschetta, salad, charcuterie boards. They love it. You know, who wants the typical dried chicken and mashed potatoes?
Yeah,
Nobody.
I don't think we had that, but I don't remember what we had.
I'm sure you had dried chicken and mashed potatoes.
But it was beautiful.
Maybe
it was
a side of asparagus.
Yeah, it was outside. Anyway, all right. So come clean out your desk. This lifted. The weight had lifted. It's a great day. So I left my one-bedroom apartment and I grabbed this magic harmonica. And this was not a normal occurrence. I don't grab my harmonica when I leave the apartment. It was, I don't know why I did it. I just did it. And I bought this harmonica a few years prior in my senior year in college. And I don't remember that memory. I'm guessing I saw a speaker who played the harmonica and they sold harmonicas and I bought one. That's my guess.
You're like, yes, sold. Got one.
Yeah, sold. I have cash. Let me get a harmonica.
Back in the simpler days.
I don't have any musical ability. I'm kind of tone deaf, but the harmonica allows you to sound like you kind of know what you're doing, at least for a couple seconds. And so I took my harmonica, I go down, and you know, the paper, people have been working there for decades. You know, they are angry, they are sad, they are upset. They are disappointed and confused, all the emotions when you lose your job. And you know, and I kind of surveyed the situation and I found myself on the back loading dock. And the media had assembled, you know, the TV stations, radio stations, other newspapers that are covering the demise of the paper. That's a big, this is a big story when a metropolitan newspaper closes. And so I kind of, I'm 23, I think. I'm 23. This is 1991.
Back in the simpler, long time ago.
It was simple. I looked exactly the same, but you know, just so you know.
Questionable.
Yeah. No, exactly the same. Exactly. To the T. All the freckles, same. So 1991. So I looked and I picked out my harmonica and I played a little blues note. I can do one blues note. Right? I can do it. So I started doing the blues. I started saying, I lost my job. I got no money. They said to come clean out my desk. I just moved to Dallas 6 months ago. Did I mention I lost my job? Come clean out your desk. Get out of here. You don't have a job anymore. This is the newspaper blues. You got nothing, young man. You got no money and no job. But in 21 years, you'll be on the 200th episode of a random podcast.
Random. I'm hurt by that.
Random. Was that?
Dang, I hope they didn't write about that.
Yeah, it's a true story. So, literally, it was like a movie. You could see the TV cameras. You could hear them go, like they are focusing. Because this is not a normal circumstance to have somebody play the harmonica when they've lost their job on the back loading dock of a major metropolitan newspaper.
On a side note, Joel is not normal.
Yeah, that was total obvious. And so, and here's where it really turned into a movie. And I don't remember, I can't see the face. Someone grabbed my elbow and they made me stop. And they said, this is direct quote, because I always remember it. You will never work in this town again. That was a direct quote. It was like a film noir movie. It was like, you will never work in this town again. And I don't remember if it was a woman, a man. I have no memory of who said that. But they grabbed my elbow and made me stop. And so fast forward, we're at the wake watching the news, and what kicks off the local broadcast of not one network, two networks, but this idiot playing the harmonica as the newspaper closes. And so two local news. There's this, I don't know why. Did you see the balloons?
Was that a celebration? How did you make the balloons come up?
I don't know. I have a new, I think you do stuff. Watch. I think I can make hearts. Let's see if I make hearts.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't
look
know
at
why the
Joel
balloons came. Yeah. And
showing
so,
off.
yeah. Yeah. So two two stations kick off with my harmonica, and then the news Fort Worth Star Telegram, huge picture of me playing the harmonica. And why? And then friends from across the country were like, "Did I see you on the news?" Because other stations would pick me up, pick the
It's way
story up.
back in the day when people used to watch the news.
Yeah, this was before social media. And so what did this is why I call it the magic harmonica, because what happened was, this is I just lost my job. It's a very difficult situation. Where am I going to work? How am I going to get paid? Am I going to have to move to another town? Am I going to continue my career as a journalist? It's a lot happening for a young person. And what the magic harmonica taught me is that I control how I react to the change. I don't control the change. I don't control that I lost my job. I control how I react to it. And that's why it's a magic harmonica, because it taught me to have confidence in myself, to have that positive attitude, to be passionate about what I do. I didn't lose my skill set. I just lost my job. And so to have that energy to choose how you react to change is very powerful, because you control your tone and your attitude and your energy and your approach, and that's going to move you forward to the next opportunity. And that's what that magic harmonica moment taught me, is that how you react to change, and it's your control, and to be positive and passionate and energized and still have confidence and believe in yourself. And I talk about this in the book that's coming out in November, and there's a whole chapter about the magic harmonica. And I've kept the harmonica, and I didn't really start telling the story until the pandemic. For some reason, I started telling the story on virtual events and podcasts, and it just resonated with people. And so, because what is your magic harmonica moment? What is your moment where you decide how you're going to react, and that you're going to have that confidence and that energy to propel you and move you forward? Because soon after that, I started doing stand-up comedy. So I didn't have a job, but I had a lot of free time. So I started doing stand-up, and I auditioned and was asked into an improv comedy troupe, which led to someone seeing me and asking me to use improv as a speaker, which led me to my speaking career, which led me to this moment where I'm on the 200th episode of your podcast. All that happened because of this magic harmonica.
I would like to celebrate you and thank you with these balloons.
I have to tell you though that is such an important component, right? Because when you talk about that harmonica and you brought it out during the pandemic, so like you during the pandemic, there was so much uncertainty and people didn't know where things were going.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did, and what actually caught Colleen's attention, was that I walked my dogs in my neighborhood in an inflatable T-Rex costume. Like an inflatable dinosaur costume. I walked the
Whole
neighborhood.
thing.
So one of
8
my
feet.
neighbors reaches out via Facebook and says, "Was that you?" Because people just know that I have this crazy love of life attitude. I'm not afraid of costumes. I'm not afraid of anything. And I said, "Yeah, that was me." She goes, "But even if it wasn't," she goes, "you made my entire day." And like,
Yeah.
I started posting that and I started doing videos, which led to, okay, these are my trademark glasses. Because what happens is that I found a filter on Facebook and did a whole video with googly eyes. And I cracked myself up. I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing so hard with these googly eyes. Well, I still don't know who it is till this day. And if you're listening to this 200th episode, I say thank you, thank you, thank you again. Because randomly in the mail, without any return address, without anything, somebody sent me these googly eye glasses. Because they saw that video and they knew how much fun I had with it. And they've become my trademark. And it doesn't really matter. I don't care like how professional of a setting. I don't care when I'm a speaker on stage, whatever I do. these glasses come out because they're a reminder to people that life is not that serious. Like, to not take yourself so seriously, to have some fun with what you are doing. See, my favorite joke, okay, you're gonna like this, Joel. My favorite joke is a mushroom walks into a bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve mushrooms here." He goes, "Why not? I'm a fun guy."
I love that one.
Right?
Okay, that's it for me on the podcast. Once
And the
mushroom
crowd
joke-
goes wild.
Hey, did someone do a mushroom joke on the podcast? They did.
They did. They
It's very-
did.
Okay, if you're gonna tell your mushroom joke, I'm gonna tell my biscuit joke.
Okay.
Do it.
Let's
I
hear
want to
it.
hear the biscuit.
ready?
I've never heard a biscuit
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. So 2 biscuits are in the oven, and one biscuit says to the other biscuit, is it me, or is it getting hot in here? And the other biscuit says, "Ah, a talking biscuit."
That was actually really funny.
Good night, everybody.
But
Good night. Good night, everybody.
I have one
Episode
lame,
200.
lame
We
joke.
did a joke about biscuits and mushrooms.
Do you want to hear mine so you can add the last
It's
third?
got to be food related.
It is
Don't-
food related.
Okay.
What did the mama tomato say to the baby tomato when they were crossing the street?
Catch up.
Da-ding.
Yeah. That's on Pulp Fiction.
Well,
You
now you
can't
know
do
where
a
I learned
joke.
it.
You can't do a joke from Pulp Fiction.
Sure I can. Like,
If
who
you are
watched?
still listening
who
into
remem-
this podcast,
I can't believe anybody's still
Okay.
they haven't.
I have
turned
to
off.
ask this question of Julie. What was your magic harmonica moment
Good transition.
in your life? That transition of, because we've heard a lot of loss in your life and a lot of change in your life. And I know you personally, so going all the way back to when you were bullied in school. I mean, there's been a lot of adversity. What would you say pivotally in the amazing 50 some years that you've been alive?
56.
I
I'm
know
proud
that.
of my
I know
age.
that, but you can say it.
Okay.
We're the same age, Julie. We're
I'm the
same age.
baby here. I'm 52.
We're the same
You're
age.
out.
I'm in the diaper.
Yeah, that's why you had that ketchup joke.
It's all I got,
know,
man. Hey, we
it's
all have
really
all have
funny.
our things, Bianna, and telling jokes is not my thing. We all know that. Everybody that knows me knows that.
I have to say, okay, because I think it's time for a hat switch because I really like this one and I want to make sure that I put this one.
Ooh, I like that one.
It's a squid. It's a squid. Okay, so because it brings me to my point. Like, when you think about like the magical harmonica moment, and there's a lot for all of us. Joel, did you ever read those books? I forget what they were called. They were adventure books. And like you would read so far into the story, and then at the end, it gave you a choice. Like you could go to A or to B, and then
Yeah.
that page you went, right? And then you followed it along.
Mhm.
And then I would always go back and pick the other one and, just
Yeah.
kind of see, right? Well, life is like that, but we don't have that time machine. Like we make choices in life and we don't know where they're going to lead us. And there's so many of those that when I look back in my life is the idea that, what were those decisions that led me to where they are today? But I believe truly that my magical like harmonica moment is the fact that I love Halloween and I love costumes. And really, seriously, like, I mean, my mom always decorated for every holiday, and I have a love of decorating and I have a love for all things that are fun and to be out there. Because, yeah, it wasn't always easy growing up with being bullied and all those kinds of things. But as soon as I've noticed this with people, especially in Halloween, people put on costumes and they take on a persona that they do not take on the rest of the 364 days of the year. And it's like, if they could just step into that a little bit more of that's who they really truly are. That's really truly who they are, to let that personality come out and shine through. And so I really think that because I was never afraid of, the costumes and, putting myself in a position, to be out there, to be a little bit different. I've always been a little bit different. And I love that about myself
True
because,
that.
you know, I mean, really, truly, like, I mean, you grow up and I wanted to fit in so bad so I wouldn't get bullied. But I think that that was the experience that I had to show me it's okay because they were jealous. They were jealous of me standing in who I am and like who I wanted to be. So, you know, to all
Oh,
you
you got
bullies,
two pairs of googly eyes on today.
to all
Wow.
you bullies out there, it's like,
It's a
you know
lot.
what?
Yeah.
It's because they're not comfortable with who they are, right? I mean, it's everything in life. Like we judge or we do things because somebody is different, but different is good. You know, Dr. Seuss says it the best. Like, you know, we weren't born to fit in. We were born to stand out.
Mhm.
We all have gifts and different talents. So, you know, this is, you know, here I bring it. The double googly eyed girl for today's
Yeah.
200. See, these are the zeros. Like I should have like had
200.
something that was a 2. Here we go. Two,
I-
200.
I have a question. I know, Colleen, you and Julie are together. You're in the same house doing this. How many Bloody Marys did you have this morning? Was there a Bloody Mary breakfast? What
We don't
happened?
drink.
Okay, I was just
I'm
checking.
alcohol free. I'm alcohol free. So this what you see is what you get.
Okay.
She doesn't
All
need
right.
any alcohol.
Yeah.
No, this
No
is how she
alcohol.
wakes up and how she
How many
goes to bed.
espressos? How much coffee was made this morning?
Coffee doesn't really like impact me. I'll have coffee, but it's because see, like we get the energy, and I'm not saying that there aren't days that I wake up and I'm tired, but as soon as I decide, like, how am I stepping into my day? How am I going to approach this day? Again, you talked about it. You know, it's our reaction, it's our response, it's our decision. Again, I tell this to people all the time. If I walk out to my car after we do this podcast, the 200th episode, and I find I have a flat tire, and we just had this amazing conversation, do I deem it as a bad moment or a bad day? Or do I not even say it's bad at all? Because maybe it just prevented me from getting into an accident down the street
Mhm.
because I have to deal with a flat tire. And it's not the end of the world, right? But there's so many things that I call first world problems that everybody's all upset about. I just traveled over this past weekend and I forgot my cell phone. Oh, well, I was at the airport. I didn't go into a state of panic. I was like, okay, I guess I don't have my phone. I had my laptop and I messaged a couple people and said, hey, I'm without my cell phone. So if you need to get a hold of me, call my girlfriend. That's it. Like there was no reason
Oh, that
to
must
go
have been
into a
nice.
panic.
That
It was.
probably
Yes.
was a really awesome weekend. So, Joel, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
as your book, Make the Right Choice, coming out in November,
Mhm.
that's like this harmonica magic moment, right? It's what do you do in those times to make the right choice? What does your teachings from stage with the humor, the laughing till their bellies ache, the improvisation, what
Right.
have you seen it change in people?
So I use improvisation during my keynote. So there's no script, there's no rehearsal, there's no plan for those that don't know. And I invite some audience volunteers. We play an improv game, and I want the audience to laugh and be energized and engaged. And yes, that happens, but it's a learning tool. It's just kind of a visual storybook for the audience to watch these audience volunteers make these choices and how they work together as a team and how they take ownership, how they're accountable, how they're innovative, how they listen and focus, how they work together to find success during change and disruption. So they're making these choices, some of which they don't even know they're making. It's just, improv is an art form. So the subconscious kind of starts taking over and you're reacting and you're making these choices because they're inherent. They're choices that we all make. And when we're given the right foundation of opportunity and positive support, I've given the opportunity. The audience is creating positive support. I'm also creating positive support. And so I see these audience volunteers make choices. Now they're out of their comfort zone. They're playing a game they've never played before. They might be playing a game with people they've never met before. They've certainly never met me. So this is in front of their peers, in front of maybe a big audience. And so they've got to make choices to be successful. And when they make these choices, it's pretty awesome to see, because they're choosing how they react to change. They're choosing to be more open and flexible. And all this all leads to success. And it visualizes this great teamwork. It visualizes this accountability and ownership. And, every person is creative. Every, and I speak to so many groups, and they start with, oh, we're not creative because fill in the blank, we're accountants or IT or engineers or, pick whatever topic. And everybody's creative, and everybody has that ability to solve a problem. And sometimes we just need to create the right opportunity for people to play and to express that. And when that happens, it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see these choices, because they make a choice as soon as they get up from their seat. They make a choice to be prepared for change, to be more open and flexible change. And that's what kind of Julie was mentioning about the flat tire, choosing your attitude, choosing what is next. You can be frustrated and impatient. Julie forgot her phone or got a flat tire. You can choose to be frustrated and stressed and impatient, or you can choose a different route and how we react to change. We can be more open and flexible and more patient and more supportive and understanding. And when we start making those choices, we're going to be more effective as a leader, as a teammate.
I'm glad that you said that, Joel, because it's so true. My magic harmonica moment was when I had a breakup with a business partner.
Mhm.
And I was at one moment sitting on the couch crying. And my husband said to me, how are you going to stand up as a role model as you are to empower so many female business owners if you're going to allow one person to make you crumble and you're not even willing to stand up and fight? And in that moment, I thought to myself, because, sometimes we're in it so deep, we can't feel or see another perspective. And this was in the moment when I had received some letters from the attorney. And I say, you're right. I am going to fight, and I am going to stand up, and I am going to do what's right, because that's who I am. And through it all, I did everything exactly the way I was supposed to. There was nothing that I had done wrong through the process that could cause me to break my contract. And because I had done things with integrity and honesty throughout the entire partnership, I came out unscathed. And I realized in that moment that I could do it on my own, and I could be just as successful, and I could stand on my own. And I was excited. I became more excited for the future on what I was able to produce and do based on that moment. And I don't think if that moment ever happened, just like for that moment, if it had never happened for you, Joel, and you had never gotten, fired because you were being laid off because it closed, today you wouldn't be inspiring audiences
That's
all
right.
over the world. You'd be working at the newspaper.
Maybe. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was your magic harmonica moment. Yeah. And I always question, how long, if the newspaper didn't close, how long would I continue being a journalist? Because then you're just starting to build that, you're building credibility, you're building history. You
Yeah.
start, next thing you know, a year goes by, 2 years, 3 years, then another opportunity comes up to move forward, to be a journalist somewhere else and to be bigger. And you just get on that track and you're on it. Right. And in fact, that's how I kind of started, how I got on it. I didn't, when I went to journalism school, I didn't, I didn't have a vision of what I was going to do. And originally I wanted to be a sports reporter, and they didn't have any slots at the school paper. So I was doing the hard news, and then I was covering the bigger stories. And then somebody wanted me to intern and started covering crime and police and, those type of stories. And it just kind of started leading me on a path, and you get on that path.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a moment, you're going to stay on that path. And
That's
so
right.
yeah, it's a good question. Would I have continued I love being a journalist. I love being a speaker more, but even when I left at that moment, I didn't know what I was going. I didn't see speaking. I didn't even know speaking was a career. I
No.
didn't know there were speakers, speaker bureaus, conferences hired keynotes, had no idea. And when I was starting, so when the paper closed, I started doing stand-up because I always had a love and a want to do that. And then I started taking some improv workshops and then auditioned and got into the improv group. And that was another moment. The first weekend that I moved to Dallas, a friend took me to see an improv comedy show. And it was like, I don't know if we talked about this on episode 198. It was like a movie, where the protagonist has a moment and the light shines on them and there's the music. Like at that moment when you're on your couch and your husband told you, to stand up, that's a movie moment, where the light shines on you and goes,
Yeah.
and you realize, and the music starts dun, 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 and it gets really dramatic. And it was like that. And I was like, it was falling in love. I fell in love. It was love at first sight.
Yeah.
Right. And I was an audience volunteer and I'm like, I don't know where this is going to go or how I'm going to get there, but this is where I'm supposed to be.
Or was it love at first bite? Like sound bite.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at you.
I'm a sleeper. Don't
Zinger!
you worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm a zinger.
Yeah.
In
I
the
don't
corner.
remember biting anybody or being bit, but it could happen. So I fast forward. When I lost my job, started doing comedy and stand-up and improv. And then I started working at a PR agency and an ad agency. And one of my clients was Texas Instruments, and they were having an executive retreat. And they said, hey, we know you do improv on the weekend. Can you come and play some of those games with us before dinner? And I was like, I wasn't like full throttle. Yeah, let's do this.
You're like, huh?
I was like, okay, you're going to pay me a little money. And so I took another friend, a performer with me, and it was all men, all VP level. Oh, look, there's thumbs. All men, all VP level, technology company. And so you're like, is that the greatest audience that you could put together? No, it's not the greatest audience. And they had fun. More importantly, I had fun. And that's when the light bulb started flickering on. And all this happened because I lost my job and had that moment. Right. And so you never know where those opportunities and where the beginning is. Sometimes you don't know you're in the beginning when the beginning is happening. And I didn't know that was going to be my career. I thought, maybe I can do this for other clients, one here, one there. But I didn't see it as a career. I didn't see it as my purpose. I didn't see me writing a book. And so you don't know that's the beginning. You don't know that was the beginning. And then, you do one here, one there. And then 1997, I recorded and made a video, a little demo video. And again, I didn't think this was going to be just, a part of my overall business, not my whole business. And it just quickly took over and it chose me. It said, the speaking profession chose, you are going to be a speaker and this is going to be your career and this is what you're going to do because it's what you're supposed to do. And I truly believe that. And all that happened because of, the moments before that, but you don't know that that's the beginning. You just have to keep putting yourself out there. Like, the name of your podcast, taking the leap and putting yourself out there and taking those risks and you never know where that opportunity is going to take you if you don't try, if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't stand up and give it a shot and throw it out there and see what happens. And you'll be surprised.
Have the faith and believe.
And have the faith.
You've got to do it. We have the opportunity. And that was great advice, Joel. And I'm going to ask Julie for her advice as well. It's great advice for our listeners because for 200 episodes, we have been talking about designing your life the way you want your life to be and not allowing it just to play out by default. That's just being a victim.
Right. Or having someone else make those choices for you.
Or having someone else make those choices for you. You. This is your only life. And I'll talk about that in a second. But Julie, I would love for you to share your advice as we're wrapping up today.
Well, I think it goes along with Joel. And I have to say, Joel, you've inspired me because I Well, because I decided I'm going to do some improv. Like I had
Yeah,
already decided that, and then I'm going to take like an introductory course and really look at that because
you'll love it.
I'm funny. I'm funny, you know, and I think that like that would be a
You
great
will
way
love
to
it.
incorporate some different things. So thank you. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that, you know, you
I
and
tell
I were guests
Yeah, I
on
tell
the
people all the
200th
time.
episode.
Yeah, I tell people all the time take an improv class. Not even if you want to be a comedian or an improv actor. If you're just a business person, not
Yeah.
just even a speaker, you don't have to be a speaker. Even anybody, I think, would love taking a class. And where improv is so prevalent, and there's a group in every big city and a lot of mid cities, and they teach improv, and they would love to have different types of people from different walks of life be a part of it, and you'll love it. And I think it's fantastic. I'm glad I inspired that, Julie. I can't wait. I want you to keep me posted on what you do.
I'll send you a little demo video.
I want to
Yeah,
hear
but
it.
hers will be digital. Yours was VHS at the time. So I'm sure hers
Yeah.
will be, back in the simpler days. Back in the
It was
simpler
back
days.
in the episode 198. It was VHS.
Yes,
Right.
198. That
for
was,
sure.
that was such a long time
Yeah.
ago.
So,
Yeah.
Julie, tell us, what would you like to leave the audience with today to inspire them to have their magical harmonica moment?
Well, I think it goes along with, some things that Joel was saying and some things that I talk about quite a bit. There's have tos in life and there's get tos. And even like when you're talking, how are you saying things, right? Because like I always use the example now, I don't have biological children. I'm blessed with a bonus son, as I call him. My husband has a son. And, but if they were younger, right? Like so many parents are like, oh, I have to go pick up my kids. Do you have to, or do you get to? And when you get to, right, like, it's just a different way of looking at things. But I encourage people that are listening in to start saying yes to life opportunities, to those things that we are so quick to say no to. I remember a friend of mine calling me once and wanting me to go to a concert with her. And, I had all the excuses like we all do. Oh, I've got this, I have to do this, and I have this work, and blah, 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 blah. And I could hear the disappointment in her voice. And then all of a sudden I'm like, Julie, none of this is that important. Just go to the concert. And I said, you know what? Let's go. And it was one of the best experiences because we had fun and we danced. And I mean, and it number one, it changed, the friendship, the relationship, right? It grew even deeper and even stronger. But again, like I tell parents all the time, come home in superhero capes or googly eyed glasses, or I have these are always fun too. See, I've got my squid head
Ooh,
on,
I
my shark
love
glasses,
them.
like,
Shark Week.
Shark Week, right? I mean, these are at the dollar store, right? Like you go and everybody go out, like take people out, go on a date and just pick up a pair of cheap, fun glasses and, get into that persona. We're just so focused in on the have tos rather than the get tos. Like it is, I speak from experience, right? Like life truly is short. I mean, I know it's an overused cliche, but again, we don't know. I just shared with you as a law enforcement officer in my own personal life, things go like that. I can hardly believe, I know I don't look 56, but I can hardly believe that I am 56 years old. And I think to myself, and where the heck did those last 56 years go? It goes by so fast. We have one kick at the cat, like I like to say. We have one chance at this life. What are you doing? And how are you doing it? And start saying yes more than you're saying no.
Thank you. I know that Joel, you have inspired Julie and myself. I know you've inspired millions of listeners. Julie, I know with your advice that you also have inspired people. And we just have to remember that every single day is a gift. And why not live your life and do the things that light you up? Why not design your life so it is a reflection on the outside of what you truly desire on the inside? So look around right now and look at your life because that's what you've designed. And if that's not what you're happy with, and change it. And there's opportunities right here in front of you. If you're working at a corporation, I highly recommend that you talk to a manager. If you are a manager, if you are a supervisor, if you're the CEO, CFO, COO, that you really consider bringing in Joel Zeff to create the energy that might be missing from your company, that improvisation that could really bring another level of opening up and unlocking some full potential in your employees at joelzeff.com. Where else would you like them to touch base with you, Joel?
LinkedIn and the website are two great. And
Yeah.
and remember, the book Make the Right Choice comes out November 13th. You can pre-order on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or wherever you buy books. And for your listeners, if any group purchases 25 books or more, I will provide a free virtual free Zoom call, book club leadership call with that group.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Joel. And then with Julie Jones, I know you can reach her at juliejones.biz. How else would you like them to connect with you, Julie?
That's the one and only Julie Jones. You forgot that.
That's right. She is for sure.
Julie Jones stuff is the easiest, but I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the social media platforms. And, just go. And as I always offer to anyone, I'm all about making new friends. And sometimes people are out there thinking, they may find themselves alone. They may not have a circle of people like we are blessed to have. And I always have room for new people in my life. And so on my website, you can book a free 30-minute call. It's not a sales call. It's a, hey, let's have some fun, get to know you type of call. And, give yourself that gift. Like, just reach out if I can be of any help or any support in anything that you are going through. And I'm sure I'll be designed to make you laugh.
Here's the other thing I would say. If you have
Hats are
a
free.
show, if you have a TV show, if you have a podcast, Julie Jones and Joel Zeff make amazing guests. I've had them numerous times on my podcast for a reason, because of the level of energy that they bring. And I just want to remind all of our listeners, you're the only you that's ever been. We've said this for 200 episodes. I've never missed one saying this quote. You're the only you that's ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. Now is your time to have your magical harmonica moment.
Wow.
Are you going to do it, or are you going to stay stuck?
Big hand for Colleen. 200 episodes. 200 episodes of inspiring people. That's incredible. Congratulations, Colleen.
Thank you, Joel. And with that, I want to say thank you to all of our loyal listeners out there who have been with us for 200 episodes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I started this journey, I had no idea the people that I would meet, the wonderful guests that I would have, and the knowledge and wisdom that they would share. But I'm truly humbled and blessed to have been chosen for this journey and to have said yes to my magic harmonica moment. And with that, I'd like to say, until next time, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.